This week on the Hooters Tour with Lee Moore and Kim Breel. Coming up this week, our Hooters players are in Rantoul, Illinois. We'll show you 4 exciting rounds of golf on this wide-open track. We'll learn about Chanute Air Force Base and meet Hooters Tour professional Michael Foster. It's all coming up right here on This Week on the Hooters Tour.
Hello everybody and welcome to Rantoul, Illinois. This is the 11th week in our 20-event season on the Hooters Golf Tour. I'm Lee Moore.
And I'm Kim Breel, Lee. You're right, 20 regular season events, but don't forget that big 32-man match play Jordan Cup Championship at Whitewater Creek Country Club in Atlanta the first week in October.
Okay, I stand corrected. But again, this week we're right here at the Willow Pond Golf Course located on what used to be a major Air Force training center, Chanute Air Force Base.
Lee, and later in the show, we'll show you a community that lost a $343 million payroll, but they didn't lose the courage to confront that and come out winners.
Yeah, Kim, Willow Pond used to produce, well, a lot of winners, you know, around here in the Air Force and all that, but this week we only have one winner. Now, let's go through our first and second rounds of play here at the Willow Pond Golf Course in that big Hooters Tour Coca-Cola Classic. Rounds 1 and 2 at the Coca-Cola Classic at Willow Pond will sound a lot like the first 36 holes of last week's event at El Paso. The name of Eric Johnson will be most prominent as he continues his torrid play. One of the early leaders, though, is Ron Winchie. He's out of Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Here, the former Wisconsin All-American secures a par 3 at the 7th hole, and he'll complete his first 18 with a 5 par score of 67. Now, this course measures almost 7,000 yards, but it will play shorter. Chris Smith, a former Ohio State Buckeye golfer who's playing with Eric Johnson on this day, will finish this birdie putt at the par 5 17th on Thursday, and after his par at the 18th hole, Chris will also be in that large group at 67. Now, we mentioned Eric Johnson, and this par putt at 18 is going to leave him at -1 for his first round. Marion Dantzler of Orangeburg, South Carolina picks up an eagle 3 at the par 5 5th hole, but the 1993 Co-Player of the Year will never get it going this weekend, and at the 11th tournament of the year, he'll miss the cut. Vance Veazey of Senatobia, Mississippi will have a good round on Thursday. Vance's par at 18 secures a spot for him at -3 heading to Friday. The other big news Thursday is the 8 par score of John Ziske of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. His 64 is going to tie the competitive course record.
I've just been out working hard at my game and, just being patient, and Lord willing, it's coming around now, and it just seems that the putts are falling now. And
Friday's round could best be summed up in 2 words: Eric Johnson. Remember, a week ago, Eric tied the course record at El Paso. He carded a 9-under par 62 on that par 71. Today, his 9-under par 63 is a new record at Willow Pond, and he did it with a big show off the tee and around the greens. Sample this birdie 4 at 17. Eric almost makes eagle, leaving the ball dead in the throat. Jerry Kelly was a couple of shots off the lead after Thursday, but he had trouble finding birds on the second day, and the full-time Nike player started Friday with a par at the easy first hole. That's en route to a 2-over par 74 and a place in a group of 12 at -4 after 36 holes. Joe Duran is back this week. He's also been playing on the Nike Tour. His par here at the par 4 14th is going to help him leave at 7 under after 36 holes. Eric Johnson and Chris Smith, though, share the halfway lead at 10 under par, with Johnson shooting the record 63. 36 holes completed now, and a pair of big hitters at 10 under par hold a 1-shot lead. Eric Johnson of Eugene, Oregon. He could be the hottest golfer on this tour through the first 4 weeks. And also in there right now at 10 under is Chris Smith of Rochester, Indiana. In second place, there's a pair. They're tied. They are Ron Winchie of Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and Brian Gorman of San Diego, California. Now, a couple of guys are at 8 under par. Vance Veazey of Senatobia, Mississippi, and Jason Larson of San Ramon, California. Some old names are among those who have surfaced at -7 after 2 rounds. And a couple of new names are in that same group. Jay Williamson of St. Louis played with us a year or so ago, and Joe Durant of Pace, Florida, our biggest winner ever on this tour in one season, 3 times. Again, they are tied in there. They're joined by a couple of new names, David Smith of Orchard Lake, Michigan, and Walter Hall of Clemens, North Carolina. When we return, we're going to tell you about a hole-in-one by a brand new pro at the Tuesday qualifier, and a Pro-Am that didn't quite beat the raindrops, but it did produce a winning group. Now, you're going to meet one of the most popular guys on our tour, and you're going to watch the rebirth of a community stung by the loss of a huge payroll, but not its willingness to make a strong comeback. All of that is coming up.
Hi, I'm Liz from the St. Louis Hooters. Stick around, we'll be right back.
Who's getting happy? Who's having fun? Who's been to Hooters? Come on, everyone, it's at Hooters. Hooters. Hooters makes you happy. Hooters makes you happy. Hooters makes you happy. Hooters makes you happy. Good times, great food, fun music, what a hoot. Hooters. Hooters. Everybody's getting happy at Hooters.
I'm bored. Let's count the palm trees again. Why are you looking at me like that, Iggy? Okay? Cut it out. You're weirding me, man. Stop looking at me like that, would ya? You're creeping me out. Cut that out, man.
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
Iggy, you're gonna twist my head off. Iggy.
Now, the highlight of that Monday qualifier was a Michael Reese hole-in-one at that par 3 12th hole, and that helped him to one of the spots. Now, the medalist, though, was Ted Gleason. He had a 5 under par 67, pretty good score out here. Also, you had Jay Williamson. He was just a couple of shots back at 69. Next was Mike McNerney. He had a 70. Eric Percy had a 71. Now, the other qualifiers included Scott Gerard, Brian Kleinlane. Also in that same group was Eric Kunlina, Mike Reese, Derek Dix, and Lee Smith.
23 teams took part in the Rantoul IGA Pro-Am. The winning team was led by professional Michael Reese. His amateurs were Dan Reefstack, Lee Smith, Ray Smith, and Brad Fuller. Congratulations to them.
Yeah, I had mine too. Kim, having served in the Air Force myself at one time, I was very familiar with the name of Chanute Air Force Base and the role that it played in the country's defense mission. Now, I was joined for this interview by a great guy, a former two-star general who at one time commanded this base, and his name was Frank Elliott, Major General Frank Elliott. Ironically, he's the man they selected in this community to help with the rebirth of the economy. I might add, he's well suited for that job. Rantoul, Illinois is located some 2 hours south of Chicago. Just a short time ago, this Midwest community of some 17,000 residents was home to Chanute Air Force Base. Chanute was firmly entrenched as a major part of that economy. Retired Air Force Major General Frank Elliott, currently and the only Director of Economic Development for the city of Rantoul, recalls the day he learned that the Department of Defense had decided to close down Chanute. It was indeed nearly a death blow.
To see the flag come down, but to be able to retire the last commander of Chanute Air Force Base and be a part of that, be a part of the closure, to see the flag come down, and well, it was, I don't know, retreat ceremonies have always gotten to me anyway, but that one, knowing the base was closing, it would no longer exist as Chanute Air Force Base, and having lived on both sides of the fence, it was sort of a part of me.
The people in this community are all so positive. And we can all take a lesson from a small town that took a hard punch but came fighting back. And Kim, I might add, this is a community with a lot of heart and a lot of guts.
And speaking of a big heart and a lot of game, meet Hooters tour professional Michael Foster of Vacaville, California.
Really, I just thought there that it was time to make a decision on what sport I wanted to play. If I wanted to play football, baseball, basketball, or do golf or whatever. So I decided golf was it. I liked the individuality of it. And I like being my own person, practicing when I want, doing what I want.
Foster made a commitment to golf, and by the time he was 18, he had earned a 4-year scholarship to San Jose State. He made first-team All-Conference his first 2 years, and Player of the Year and All-America honors his last 2 years.
My first year, yeah, I went to, I turned pro for the last 3 months of the 91, and I finished second at the Santa Rosa Hogan at that time. And then the first year out, I missed my tour card by a shot and ended up getting my Nike card.
One stroke away from his dream, and now 3 years later, still no PGA touring card. But even though he's fallen short of the big league, he's a believer that his day will come.
I do, I really do. I've shot enough good scores to really feel that I belong and not am just out here to pass my time. So I do really feel that I have a good chance to make it.
Foster often thinks about the future. What will he become on the PGA Tour if and when he finally gets there? But first, he must think and concentrate on the present.
My goals for this year are to basically probably win one tournament out here now. I mean, I was hoping to have a little higher goals, but I've had to pretty much struggle the first part of the year. So to win one tournament out here and get my game in shape to go to tour school and get my PGA card.
When we return, we'll join Michael Foster and the other 66 players who made the cut this week, which incidentally was set at 2 under par 142. Don't go away. Rounds 3 and 4 in the $100,000 Coca-Cola Classic are coming up.
Hi, I'm Stace from St. Louis Hooters. Stick around. Lee and Kim will be right back.
So I said to Henny, of course chickens are more important to Hooters than owls.
Who?
Chickens, that's who.
I beg to differ.
Well, peg all you want. Without chickens, there'd be no chicken sandwiches or chicken salad. Or Hooters' famous chicken wings. There'd be no Hooters if it weren't for chicken.
It's really not wise to even argue the point.
That's because I'm right.
No, that's because you're not going to be around long anyway. Chicken.
Naturally fresh, simply delicious. Just wait and see. You'll taste the quality. Preservative free. We always have been, always will be. Naturally, it's simply delicious. Naturally fresh. It's a lifestyle.
Are you still drinking the old thing? Try the next thing, Powerade. With 33% more carbos than Gatorade and a taste you can really slam. Powerade, the next thing.
Now, headed into the third round, remember, Eric Johnson and Chris Smith share the lead at 10 under par.
Entering the third round at Willow Pond in Rantoul, Illinois, Eric Johnson had jumped 47 spots to be our co-leader at 10 under par, along with Chris Smith of Rochester, Indiana. 4 strokes back were John Dowdall and Michael Foster. Foster birdies the short number 1 par 4 following this approach, as does John Dowdall. Dowdall will shoot 71 to stand at -7. Foster fires a 72 and will head into Sunday's play at -6. T. Burton of Shelby, North Carolina, followed rounds of 70, 68 with a 2 under par 70. This approach on number 1 sets up one of his birdies for the day. DeWitt Weaver III of Orlando, Florida, followed his rounds of 68, 70 with a 72. He'll birdie number 1 and go to -7 for the tournament, but the course will get 1 stroke back before the day is over as he closes at -6 for the tournament. Joe Durant, a name that has been missing from the leaderboard for some time, seems to have found his game this week. Durant also birdies number 1, and he'll post a 71 for today to be at -8 for the tournament, 7 strokes out of the lead. Eric Johnson had one of the biggest drives on number 1 for the day. He hits the green and sinks this putt for an eagle 2. He makes one more birdie at the 13th green, a par 5, which puts him at 3 under for the day and 13 under for the tournament. Vance Veazey entered today just 2 strokes off the lead. This approach to number 1 sets up a birdie, as he will eventually fire a 6 under par round 66 today. He's at -14 for the tournament, just 1 stroke off the lead. The leader going into Sunday will be Chris Smith of Rochester. 3 straight rounds of 67 puts Chris at 201. One of his birdies came at number 1 and another at the par 4 10th hole. He finishes at the top of the leaderboard at 15 under after 3 rounds of play.
I'm real happy. To be ahead by 1 or by 5 doesn't matter. I feel comfortable with the way I'm playing, and I like being in the lead and looking forward to tomorrow.
The rest of the leaderboard has Vance Veazey at 14 under, Eric Johnson and Brian Gorman at -13. Ron Winchie sits at 12 under with Doug Barron, who fired a 65 today, all alone at 205 or 11 under par. Some other names to watch on Sunday include Ray Franz, Jerry Kelly, Bo Fennell, Jeff Thorson, and Jay Williamson.
Now, the player that's going to emerge in the 4th round is no doubt going to be a big hitter with some touch around the greens.
With $15,000 on the line, as well as some valuable naturally fresh bonus points, there were several names in the hunt. Brian Gorman was the hottest player to attack early. He birdies number 1, making a good approach and a great putt. He birdies 2, and again a birdie at the par 3 number 4, giving him 3 birdies in the first 4 holes. And at this point, our current leader at 16 under. Gorman would birdie again at number 8 and will fire a 66 today, 1 shy of the championship title. Eric Johnson, who was paired with Brian Gorman, had a slow start. Pars through the first 5 holes. He does pick up a few birdies, though. This one on 16 puts him 1 under for the day and 16 under for the tournament. Eric will birdie the next 2 holes, looking for his first win of the year, but his 67 is too shy of a chance at the 15 grand. Vance Veazey, who started the day 1 off the lead, found a birdie at number 8, but his 72 today was only good enough to place him tied for 6th, 6 back of the winner. The winner is a young man from Rochester, Indiana. You know him, Chris Smith. He started the day at 15 under par. This birdie at number 8 got him to 17 under, and this birdie on the par 4 11th hole takes him to 18 under. Another birdie at 17 will get him to 21 under par, but he will eventually post a 5 under par 67 for the day and 20 under for the championship title, taking a 1-stroke victory over Brian Gorman of San Diego, California.
It's a great win. It's really good for me right now because it gets me one step closer to the goal that I set at the start of the year. And really, the main goal I set was to win a tournament out here, and I won. And now I just wanted to put some good tournaments together and try to have a good finish to the season.
Your final leaderboard for the Coca-Cola Classic in Rantoul, Illinois, again has Chris Smith on top with Brian Gorman one back. Eric Johnson in the top 5 for the 3rd straight week, with Matt Ewing, Ray Franz, Jeff Thorson, Ron Winchie, and Vance Veazey all in the top 10. Michael Foster had a 65 on Sunday as he finishes tied for 9th with Joe Durant and Derek Gilchrist.
Now, coming up, we're going to have a rule you should know and some help for your game. Doug Finley, our Hooters PGA rules guy, tells us today about how to go about taking a ball out of play.
Hi again, everyone. I'm Doug Finley, Senior Rules Official for the Hooters Professional Golf Tour. On today's show, we are going to look at USGA Rule number 5, which deals with the golf ball itself, and what we as players are entitled to when our ball becomes unfit for play. Okay then, let's look specifically at what USGA Rule 5-3 says about balls that may or may not be unfit for play. A ball is unfit for play if it is visibly cut, cracked, or out of shape. A ball is not unfit for play solely because mud or other materials adhere to it. Its surface is scratched or scraped, or its paint is damaged or discolored. If we as players have reason to believe that our ball has become unfit for play during the play of the hole being played, and remember that because it's very important, we may, during play of such a hole, lift our ball without penalty to determine whether or not it is unfit. Under the rules, before we lift our ball, we must announce our intention to our opponent in match play or our marker or fellow competitor in stroke play, and then mark the position of the ball. Should we determine during this procedure that our ball has become unfit for play during play of the hole being played, we may substitute another ball, placing it on the spot where the original ball lay. Otherwise, the original ball must be replaced. Remember, replaced and not dropped.
And Jeff Jones shows us how to make the game just a bit easier for you. Just listen.
Hi, I'm Jeff Jones for the Hooters Golf Tour. Our tip today is going to be on ball position. There's a lot of confusion regarding ball position, and I just want to show everyone something. In the golf swing, guys and girls, the club is moving down, and then it's moving level with the ground, then it moves up. All right? You've got to put the golf club in the position where it was designed to be struck from, where the golf club, the engineers designed it to be hit. The sand wedge is positioned in the center of the stance where the club is moving down. The 6-iron's basically a little farther forward where it's moving basically level, and then the driver is where it's moving up. It makes about as much sense to put a sand wedge up off the left heel forward in your stance, where some teachers advocate, as taking a driver and putting it back in your stance. because this is not where the sandwich is designed to be hit from, not off the left end step. It's designed to be hit more in the center of your stance. I hope that clears up some of the confusion regarding ball position. Make sure you put the golf club and the ball in the position in your stance where the club was designed to be struck from. For Hooters Golf Tour, I'm Jeff Jones, and I'll see you at your local Hooters restaurant.
11 tournaments have been completed and more than $1 million have been awarded. Now, here's how some of that money breaks down in our top 10.
The official earnings to date has a two-time winner on the Hooters Tour, Dickie Thompson, on top with almost $45,000. Ricky Smallridge is roughly $6,700 back at just under $38,000. The others in the top 10 include Jimmy Green, Paul Claxton, Steve Pope, Steve Thomas, Scott McCarron, Mike Swartz, Chris Smith, and Matt Ewing. And here's what that naturally fresh $100,000 bonus race looks like after our visit to the Midwest. Dickie Thompson has a lead of 138 points over Ricky Smallridge in the naturally fresh $100,000 bonus race that will be awarded at the season's end. Also in the running for that bonus is Andrew Morse, Greg Parker, Scott McCarron, Brian Gorman, Paul Claxton, Mike Swartz, Ryan Howison, and Jimmy Green.
Kim, just a fantastic week we had here in Middle America, a couple of events, you know. We were over at El Paso 2 weeks ago and then right here in Rantoul, and I tell you what, it's brought us back to an area that's become really a favorite of our players.
Next week, our Hooters Tour players will be returning for the 4th time to Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Yeah, I love it over there in the Bluegrass State. Now, before we go, a special thanks to Wally Lochner and his staff right here at Willow Pond. Also, the St. Louis Hooters restaurants and the great gals that came down to visit us from there. Also, to our many sponsors and volunteers in Rantoul. So, we're going to see you next week right here, Kim.
On This Week on the Hooters Tour.
Yeah, I love it.
This Week on the Hooters Tour is brought to you by Hooters Restaurants. Hooters, delightfully tacky, yet unrefined. Naturally fresh foods, naturally fresh preservative-free salad dressings, sauces, and dips. And by Bud Light. Make it a Bud Light. If you like the clothes that Kim and Lee are wearing, call the Hooters Merchandise Catalog at 1-800-961-2231 for all Hooters of America apparel.